Welcome to On the Way to School, your 6-minute daily boost for educators and administrators. I'm Christopher S. Dennis, and today, let's elevate our journey together. All right, party people, here we are on the way to school. Literally driving right now, so the audio may be a little strange because we're going to try to get the mics and all the good stuff back together. But happy St. Patrick's Day. Hopefully you got a little green on. Don't get pinched. Our high school has free dress today, and my sons decided that, they were going to free dress, but not wear any green. They're wearing jeans and white t-shirts. And I'm like, okay, for the sake of fashion, you'd prefer to get pinched, I guess. But anyway, I managed to slide through the St. Patrick's Day line with some green glasses. So I think I'll survive, the onslaught. But anyway, hopefully you had a great weekend. And, for us, we had a really eventful weekend at our board retreat. It's always good to be a part of the governance process and be able to connect with board members and just have an opportunity to talk about the health and vitality of our school. And it was also the week admissions decisions came out for all three divisions. As an independent school, we have entry points of kindergarten, 7th grade, and 9th grade, which are the primary entry points. We also have another entry point in 6th grade where we bring in about a dozen or so students, but to receive over 1,000 applications to accept probably about just under 500 students to fill about 200 overall seats it's always a complicated project. And again, like I said in the videos last week, kudos to everybody who play a part in that at our school and at your school and just families in general. Because it's a big deal. It's a big deal. If you're not familiar with this process, think of the college admissions process for younger people, 4-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 14-year-olds, and all the emotion that goes into that. So what I wanted to kind of think through today has to do with just confidentiality. So there are so many ways communication takes place in a school. There are so many pieces of information that flow up and down, back and forth. And in many cases, the way you actually advance ideas or get things accomplished is by letting people be a part of the conversation, being a part of a discussion on the way to building consensus, on the way to making sure that the entire body of leadership or decision makers, stakeholders have had a chance to weigh in. And in times where there's some disagreement or some disconnect, the lines can get blurred a little bit about what's to be communicated and what's not to be communicated. In many cases, you're kind of just taking pieces of information, campaigning, if you will, and taking perspectives from everybody's point of view. But at times, there can be a point of no return once you start to disclose. Once you start to share more information than you planned or more information than that's necessary, things can kind of basically violate confidentiality. And that violation is really a breach of trust and the ability for other folks to hold their candor. And I've been a part of those situations myself very recently. I think it's a place where you are so comfortable, so familiar with peers and colleagues that familiarity, that comfort sometimes can allow you to temporarily not have your better judgment. And unfortunately, things get communicated, information gets shared, and it really can damage relationships. But one of the things about being a leader is that you have to own your side of the street every single day, because the only way that you're going to be able to bridge and find some repairs is that if you acknowledge the thing that everybody is feeling, if you acknowledge the thing that everyone is frustrated with. And in some cases, folks will be very direct and very upfront and say, I didn't appreciate when this happened. I didn't appreciate when that happened. And they'll draw a line. Never do you put yourself in a position to stay on the defensive or try to backtrack or try to act as if something did not take place. Because beyond breach of trust or lack of confidentiality, people do not like to be lied to. People do not like to be disrespected, having, being spoken to in a condescending tone. All these things harm relationships after the initial damage has been done. And when all these things are taking place, when the relationships aren't going the way they should, when the apologies aren't appropriate, those relationships impact the school. They impact the school in ways where, if the leadership isn't healthy, then how can the kids, right? So there's always a time where you have to figure out, where are we? Let's reset. Let's calibrate. Let's clear the air, and we're still in agreement with our purpose of even being in this relationship, as far as a community or a working relationship. Let's get back to the goal that we had in mind, and it could actually bring you closer together. So disagreements aren't bad, but if you do have a breach of confidentiality, a breach of trust, the repair is important, and everyone's got to take some responsibility in that. But even more so, if you are able to understand that you are responsible for any portion of that, you got to take responsibility for your side. So hopefully that's helpful. On the way to school, I'm in traffic, but hey, let's talk tomorrow. Take care.
Thanks for joining me on the way to school. Stay inspired, stay motivated, and keep making a difference. I'm Christopher S. Dennis. See you tomorrow.